Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is very different than any of the videos I've made. Okay, this is just kind of random. Like, my channel is kind of random. I will just talk about what I feel like talking about that I feel like is going to help. Okay, my main purpose is to help people as much as possible. And yeah, this video is going to be about the matrix and mitochondria. I might actually title this video the mitochondrial matrix. Okay, this is such a random video. Honestly, I make like tarot readings and manifestation advice, but this is related to manifestation, and I'll talk about that in the video. Okay, and I just want to preface this video by saying that I am not a medical professional, and this is not professional advice. Do consult a medical professional before, doing the things I may mention in this video, like fasting. Okay, because I'm just going to be very honest with you. I have been like fasting. I've been taking care of my health and eating a lot healthier and limiting my sugar intake. And I feel like I've entered a whole new portal, a whole new dimension where my manifestations are coming in fast. Okay, they're coming in at an accelerated rate. And I feel like the things that I'm going to talk about in this video, like especially like, fasting and like just eating healthy, has helped me break through certain strongholds and certain resistance. I don't like using that word, because resistance doesn't exist in my reality. I'm like one of those like delusional manifestors where I'm just like, no, resistance is not a real thing, right? But yeah. For the purposes of this video, I might use that word, but basically if you have certain strongholds or resistance in your life, right? Like maybe you're able to manifest certain things. Like for some of you, you're able to manifest a job, you're able to manifest money, but you are just not manifesting where you want to be in love. For some people, it's the opposite. Like, their love life is great, but they're struggling to make money, right? Whatever that stronghold is in your life, I feel like, this will definitely help, okay? My goal is to just, help people the best way I can. And even in some of my like tarot readings and videos and manifestation videos that I make for people, I do end up just talking about certain supplements that have helped me. Again, I'm not a doctor, so take whatever I say with a grain of salt, and definitely do consult a medical professional, okay? But yeah, this is just what has helped me, and this is just based on my research, and this is very rough. I literally wrote this up yesterday, and I just got this spiritual download, this hit to make this video and talk about this stuff, because honestly, at least in my reality, even though I live an amazing reality, I do have an amazing life, I do have a lot of abundance in my life, and that's not an affirmation, that is true. I do feel like some of the foods that I'm surrounded with are extremely unhealthy, and whenever I go to stores, excursions, I live in New York City, and it is so much fun going to restaurants, cafes. I really like, even there's this thing called Tea Around Town. It's this beautiful pink coquette aesthetic thing, just a bus where you have high tea and all these amazing pastries and snacks. But the thing is, there is so much sugar in these things, okay? And sugar is actually not that great for you, because cancer cells feed on sugar, and parasites feed on sugar as well, okay? So actually, I'm a huge sweet tooth, and I still love sugar, but I'm trying to switch from not eating processed sugar or processed foods, okay? And just only eating healthier sugars, right? Like date, I actually switched to using date sugar, honey, not processed honey, but real raw honey. Fruit sugar is also fine too, although some people even say oh no, that's too much sugar. I think natural sugars are fine, but yeah, just letting you know, once I limited my sugar intake, the brain fog just cleared up, okay? My anxiety went down, stress. Sometimes, I get frustrated, depression, we all go through that, right? I feel like I was functioning a lot better at work. Okay, I had a lot more clarity about certain things, answers and insights and spiritual downloads just came to me a lot easier. My memory retention was great. The way that I communicated, especially at work, improved a lot. I actually got a lot of compliments, and I actually ended up getting a raise, which I didn't know that was gonna happen. I thought I'd passed the deadline for that, but it's crazy. Ever since I just shifted my diet and limited my sugar intake and started eating healthier and fasting, and I'm gonna talk about some of the different methods here. Things just got so much better. and I didn't feel like I was in survival mode. I felt like I was in conscious creator mode. Okay, and something I do want to tell you is that you don't need to do this to manifest. Okay, I know this sounds very law of attraction, because a lot of law of attraction people talk about how you have to be like high vibrational to manifest, you have to go raw, vegan, this, that. You don't need to do that to manifest, because I'm telling you, like, again, I was a huge sweet tooth, and I still am, but I'm trying to just limit that. But even though I ate a lot of sugar and things like that, I still manifested my job, I still manifested abundance, I still manifested like my travels. That's like what I talk about on the channels, on my channel here the most. And then I manifested my SPs. Like, you can still manifest no matter what you eat. But if you have the chance to eat healthier, why not? Okay. And this video is especially, the things that I'm going to talk about are, related to like fasting, ketosis, autophagy. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this will help you break through certain strongholds and resistance that you have in, very specific areas of life. Okay, like I mentioned, maybe, I always get like clients and, they'll tell me things like, I'm doing a great job in this aspect of my life. My health is good. My familial relationships are good. My friendships are good. I'm just struggling in love. Like, what can I do, And then, of course, you can just say affirmations. Affirmations help as well. Okay, you can literally just affirm like, no, my love life is thriving. Every aspect of my life is thriving. But, I'm a huge proponent of robotic affirming, or, saying robotic affirmations, mantra, meditation, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like, that has led me to this. Like, when you robotically affirm, when you meditate, or whatever like modality of manifestation you engage in, that will lead you to other things, other insights that will lead you to your final manifestation. Okay, so don't think of it as like changing methods. Like, I still robotically affirm. Like, I found all these cool modalities and methods that actually help me regulate my nervous system and reach my manifestations, or my desired reality faster. So I would say robotic affirming worked really well, and I will make more videos on robotic affirming. I think those did pretty well, and people would ask me in the comments to make more videos regarding robotic affirming and neuroplasticity and the science behind that. I do want to add some more like science-based videos on my channel and talk about that, because a lot of you like do operate on that left brain, like logical, analytical mind, which to an extent is great. Like, even though I'm a spiritual person, I think it's great to activate both hemispheres of the brain. Okay, like I'm very intuitive and I feel things, but also at the same time I do want to activate that logical aspect of my brain too, and use it when needed. Like, that's the thing. Maybe when it comes to manifestation, I know a lot of like coaches will say manifestation is not logical, right? But some people, they do like manifesting using logic. So figure out what works best for you. Okay, figure out what works best for you. You can, again, implement both aspects of your brain, all aspects of your brain, both hemispheres of your brain, right? And like use them accordingly, use them very intelligently. And that's also something I want to talk about in this video, how eating healthier and fasting actually activates the DNA intelligence within your cell, okay? Within your cells. Because we have like trillions of cells in our body, and they are going through a constant cycle of death and rebirth. Like, even in spirituality, you'll see in a lot of oracle cards, you'll see like death and rebirth, right? Like the Tower card, the Death card in tarot, right? So a lot of like what we experience in spirituality is a reflection of what's going on internally, or a lot of what we experience in the external world is what's going on like literally within our cells. Actually, this video and like me getting into this was very inspired by this one image that I saw about how neural networks in the brain actually resemble the galaxy. Even like our eyes, right? Like the cells in our eyes, they resemble the galaxy as well. And even like the if you look at your fingerprints, right, they resemble tree rings, right? So there are a lot of correlations between like literally our human biology and the external world, right? Like, we are nature, we are the universe, we are all one consciousness expressed in a different form, right? So it's just so interesting. Like, I feel like this is my new hyperfixation. I know a lot of you like you like studying things on a very deep level, and that also heals a lot. Like, actually, when I started studying about this really did help heal my mind, and it activated like intelligence like within me, like DNA intelligence, cellular intelligence, the intelligence of my ancestors, even, right? And I'm going to talk about that in this video. as well, just about like the things that are stored in our cells. But it activated that within me, and it just led me to my manifestations fast. Again, I think I know things are moving at an accelerated rate, because there's this like innate infinite intelligence within me that I'm finally being able to activate, without even thinking too much consciously, and like I'm just getting things left and right. So the whole thing about logic, there is an order, or like logic to how the universe operates, but it may be beyond our comprehension. Like we may not consciously understand the logic, but like there is still something, like that is like, and this depends, maybe you don't believe in that, that's okay, but yeah, like I believe it's called like entropy, right? Like the like disorderly logic. I feel like there's a better definition to define entropy, but if someone wants to look that up and tell me in the comments, right? But anyways, okay, wow, that was a really, really long intro. Let's get into the video, because this is so interesting. Okay, I'm so sorry for my handwriting. Like I want my videos to be authentic. Like as much as I like visuals and like AI and stuff like that, like, and I do appreciate AI, it is very helpful, right? Like I do want my videos to like be more authentic and raw and real, and just like I kind of like the old school type like videos where people would just like write things on a whiteboard. But right now I don't have a whiteboard, so this notebook will do. But anyways, yeah, let's for real get started. Matrix and the mitochondria. Okay, mitochondrial matrix. So the matrix is inside the mitochondria, which is inside our brain neurons. So neurons are all over the body. Okay, they're not just in the brain, but brain cells, right? Brain neurons, that's like different than the cells in our body. So if you see brain neurons, that's what I'm talking about there, right? And it's basically the space where energy production happens, and that's what gets projected out in our reality. Okay, that is insane. So maybe you might have seen this in like the TikTok comments, or like in the comments under like those memes that say the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And I feel like there's a reason why, like I kept seeing that. Like I feel like sometimes when things are trending and I keep seeing too much of that, it's definitely a sign from my subconscious mind, the universe, whatever you believe in, right? But yeah, this is just really interesting. This is the space where energy production happens, and that's what gets projected out in our reality. Because on this channel I talk about how what's going on in our neurons, like our brain cells, our brain neurons, right? The things that you feed your brain is what gets projected out in the reality. Reality is basically a hologram, right? And when I say reality, like just pretend I'm using air quotes. And the information that you feed in your brain, like basically your brain is the projector, right? And the thoughts that you are constantly feeding your brain are what gets projected out into your quote-unquote reality, or 3D. And you can change that. The cool thing is that the reality, or 3D, whatever you want to call it, it is malleable. You are never stuck to anything, okay? You're never stuck or bound to any circumstances. That's why circumstances do not matter. They never ever mattered, okay? Things can change because there exist infinite realities, and there does exist a reality where you have absolutely everything that you want. Okay, like sometimes maybe when you see partial manifestations, it's like that's just another reality, but you're getting closer and closer to that reality where you have absolutely everything. Okay, so yeah, mitochondrial matrix, again, innermost space within these tiny powerhouses of our cells. Again, mitochondria is the powerhouse of our cell. Okay, the mitochondria inside our brain, neurons, okay, they're the command centers of our reality. If you want to see things happen in your reality, you can literally command your brain neurons. You can command your cells, okay? And sometimes, and this is just what I have noticed, when I don't have that much food, or I have very healthy food in my system. I'm actually vegetarian. I've been vegetarian my whole life. I feel like that's been some kind of protection for me. And I'm not like hating on meat eaters, okay? I am not like, judging you for eating meat, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, my family, we're all thriving, we're all happy, we're all healthy. My grandparents, they are still alive in their 80s, 90s, okay? So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm a vegetarian and it's worked really well for me. But, like, I know there's a lot of people who are on the carnivore diet. They eat meat, protein, all of that. Figure out what works best for you. But I'm just saying, like, I am vegetarian, and I feel like when I eat plant-based foods, okay, I know this is not sponsored by like a vegan or vegetarian company. I'm just talking about what works best for me. Something shifts, something happens, because if you think about it, right? Like think about plants, right? Like mitochondrial plants, right? They go together, or like plant-based foods, like apples, things like that, right? Like they're made from solar energy. Okay, this gets very deep and spiritual. This is about alchemy and manifestation and transmutation, right? If you're into that, this is such an interesting fact. But basically, a lot of the plants, right, like they convert solar energy into tangible food, right? So like when you eat plant-based foods, you are literally consuming light codes from the sun. Like that's the cool thing about plants. Like plants will literally take the light codes from the sun and convert them into food that we can eat, and that is really healthy. Okay, plants are like great, they're good healthy foods, right? And like some of them include like apples. There are foods that like have more solar energy than others, but like definitely like apples are one of them. I love apples. Just like berries, blueberry, like strawberries. Okay, someone wants to research that and put that in the comments, that'd be great. But yeah, basically it's just so cool that like I keep getting the words like light codes and solar energy. And so when we consume those plants, right, when we consume like apples and healthy things, similar to apples, even like nuts, seeds, things like that, even actually honey. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But when we eat those foods, we're literally consuming light codes from the sun, and you're becoming light, right? Like that's why a lot of spiritual people will say love and light, right? And I know like for some of you, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so law of attraction, and she's basically saying that you have to be in a light, like fasted state and eat healthy all the time to like manifest what you want. I'm not saying that. Again, you can manifest like no matter what, but again, this may help you break through certain strongholds and resistance in your life and certain aspects of life. If you feel like you've been manifesting that forever, it's been like literal months or years, maybe changing your diet, maybe changing the things that you eat might help. Again, this is not medical advice. Consult a medical professional to see what works best for your body. This is literally just a general video. Everyone has different human biology, right? So And the thing I was talking about bees is that, bees are so cool. That's why a lot of spiritual people, you'll see in a lot of like, oracle cards and tarot cards, like you may see bees, and a lot of spiritual people will talk about bees and they feel a connection with bees. But bees basically convert, they collect nectar from plants, and those plants, like flowers, right? They have light codes from the sun. So basically bees are converting the nectar from the plants into honey, which is something that we can eat, which is why honey is actually a really, really great thing to eat. A lot of like, medical professionals, like I've been watching like Dr. Mindy Pels. She talks a lot about manifestation, and she really loves honey. She's just like, honey is a great snack, of course in moderation, because it can be really sweet. But that's why like bees, for those of you that feel a connection to bees, it could be because of that. It's like some people even think there's some sort of like interdimensional creatures that like blessed our earth, which is why it's so important to like care about the bees and the environment. And even like hexagons, right? Like there's something very deep and spiritual about like hexagons, and I'm even getting like sacred geometries. Like sacred geometry is just like the study of different geometric shapes, and like just some of you may be into that, and like the impact like that they have on our brain. That's not the actual definition of sacred geometry, but I'm just I just got like the term sacred geometry just came to mind. Spiritual download. Oh my gosh, spiritual download. But basically, hexagons are a very powerful shape. Okay, they are very steady, stable. Like triangle is like one of the most like steady, stable shapes, right? Like if you look at pyramids, it's just a bunch of different triangles, right? Same with hexagons, because like if you look at a bee's honeycomb, right, like that's where the magic happens. Like that's where bees convert the nectar from plants, which have light codes of the sun and solar energy, and they convert that nectar into honey, right? And then they also collect like bee pollen, right? Like bee pollen, like some of you may be into that, right? Like it's sold at stores, farmers markets. So basically they even like give their pollen to their offspring. And bees, like the reason why flowers plants grow is because of like that beautiful symbiotic relationship between bees and basically bees pollinate the flower, right? Like they're like asexual, and like yes, they do have the male and female parts, but like the bees are the ones like spreading the pollen, and that's why plants are able to grow, which is why it's so important to save the bees. And then it's just like such a beautiful, like I think the word is like symbiosis, symbiotic, like mutually empowering like relationship, right? But yeah, sorry, I went on a huge tangent, but this is just something I wanted to share. Plants, solar energy, light codes, eating well, that helps a lot. Honey will really help with, activating the mitochondrial matrix. Eating plant-based foods will really help. again, foods that I personally really like that have like elevated my consciousness and just made me feel better overall. I have more like natural energy. I do take supplements like magnesium, but I'm not on any medication. Like I'm not on anything, no anxiety meds, nothing. Like I'm just kind of like raw dogging it, and it's just like, just eating healthy will help so much, okay? And I just really want to spread that message. But yeah, I eat apples, blueberries. They're really good for the brain. Avocado, healthy fat. Your brain loves fat, so that's really good. Strawberries are really good. I eat a lot of nuts as well, like sunflower. Yeah, there's seeds, like sunflower seeds. Pumpkin seeds, they have zinc, which is really good for hair growth. If you're trying to maintain healthy hair or grow hair, zinc is really good. Pumpkin seeds, they look they're green in nature, or you can even eat pumpkin seed oil. What else was I gonna talk about? Yeah, so peanuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. Yeah, also really just like raisins. Yeah, but nuts and seeds are great. Like for those of you that are into chakras, I see like nuts and seeds as like, the lower chakras, and then like fruits for the higher chakras. So you can eat both. So like maybe, there's that whole thing about grounding, right? Like, so the lower chakras are not bad. They're not negative. If anything, like, you need to like be grounded in it helps to be grounded in yourself for you to achieve, these higher spiritual insights, tap into your crown chakra, get all these spiritual downloads, live a really good, happy life, right? Because a lot of us are in survival mode. The bottom two chakras, right? Like the crown chakra, or sorry, no, that's not the bottom chakra. The root chakra, which has to do with like stability, security, right? Like a lot, like society is all about like earning money, right? Like a lot of us, like, we spend so much time at our jobs, right? Root chakra, survival mode. And then there's the sacral chakra, which is about like food, pleasure, like, like intimacy, that kind of stuff, right? A lot of us like just stay stuck in that. People just want like, intimacy and like money. It's like, but like no, like there has to be more in life, right? More to life. So yeah, that's when you like start elevating through the the chakra system, right? And like reaching a higher levels of consciousness, right? The next, I believe, is like solar plexus, which is all about confidence, inner power, willpower, heart chakra. You can even eat foods, and if you want to activate certain chakras, you can eat foods related to those chakras, right? Like, so like apples, like red apples. I used to eat red apples a lot. And let me just tell you, my root chakra is very strong. Like, I never lack money. I always have security. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying this to help, okay? And again, this is all based on your belief system. You don't need to do any of this to manifest. You don't need to eat red foods to earn money. But yeah, I don't know. It's more of a psychological thing. Yeah, like if you believe in something deeply enough, like it will manifest. Like for me, like, whenever I do feel like, okay, I'm a little bit like unconfident, like, not that confident, whatever, I'll eat like, foods that are yellow in nature, right? Like bananas, they're good for the solar plexus. Maybe when I'm lacking in creativity, like orange foods, sacral chakra, right? Yeah, so yeah. Anyways, yeah. What was I talking about? Wow, that was like the big... I would say it's a tangent, but not really, because like everything's connected, okay? Like I just kind of like yapping about everything. But anyways, yeah, mitochondria inside of our brain, neurons, command centers of our reality. So if you want to activate, these command centers, like I mentioned, eating healthy, eating these great foods, really helps. And let me explain why. That's because when you eat lighter foods, right? Like in Ayurveda, this is called like sattvic foods, right? I'm also really into Ayurveda, Indian, and it's an open practice. Anyone can like, seek Ayurveda to like, heal their body, like different doshas, different energy centers, right? But when we eat lighter foods, like plant-based foods, solar foods, like even like seeds, nuts, things like that, right? Your body spends less energy on digestion, and it uses that energy that it would be using for digestion towards your manifestations, which is really cool. So yeah, let me say that again. When you fast or when you eat lighter foods, your body is not spending that much energy on digestion. The expenditure, like, just the energy that your body is spending is it can be used towards healing, towards manifestation, towards thoughts, okay? Again, that's not to say you can't manifest even if you have a full stomach. Sometimes, people do manifest when they have a full stomach because they feel really good and they see it as like, okay, I'm nourishing my vessel. I'm giving myself all the like, nutrients I need, right? So, like when you break a fast, right? Like that's the mentality that you can be in. Like, oh, By breaking this fast, I am stepping into my dream reality. I am embodying my dream reality, okay? I am nourishing my vessel. I'm making an offering to my vessel. Like, you know how some of you may be making offerings to certain gods, certain deities, right? So see yourself as a god or goddess or a deity, and you're making that offering when you break your fast. And the thing about fasting is, like, there's a lot of different types. There's like the 16-8, there's the 18-6, there's keto, there's OMAD, right? There's like the 3-day water fast. I know for, Christians, I believe it's called like the Esther fast, right? And then there's also like the Daniel fast. Esther fast is like 3 days of like just water, like no food. Daniel fast is like you only eat like, I believe, like vegetarian things, and you cut out like meat. I'm not 100% sure, but like there's different types of fasting. I really like intermittent fasting. I feel like the key to gaining the most out of fasting is it's not even so, it is of course it is about the foods that you eat, but it's about the period of time you go through not eating. That's when autophagy happens. That's when cellular repair happens. Autophagy basically means self-eating, right? It's from the Greek word, autophagy is a Greek word, and auto means self, phagy means eating, so self-eating. Your body has this innate intelligence. Okay, your cells have this innate intelligence where they eat or like get rid of the damaged cells. They recycle the damaged cells. They renew the damaged cells. Cellular renewal, cellular healing. Okay, so so if you have these like negative cells, right? Think of like these like cells as like, the damaged cells as like circumstances in your reality. For those of you that are into manifestation, right? You have these unwanted circumstances. Maybe you have third parties. Maybe you have a bad boss, a bad manager, something like that. Think of autophagy, right, as like eating those like negative circumstances. So when you fast, okay, let's say you do like a 16-hour fast, you don't eat for 16 hours, your body goes into autophagy, and ketosis also happens, I think your body goes into autophagy at 17 hours, and then ketosis can start at 16 hours. I will make a video going more like deep into that. I have it in my notes. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there is a difference between ketosis and autophagy, and I'll explain that in another video. But basically, like, you do activate autophagy, where your cells are activating this innate intelligence within them in a way that they're recycling all these damaged cells or the damaged parts of a cell and making them healthier. So actually, a lot of people that are, sick, they've had like cancer, they've had like chronic pain, inflammation, things like that. Fasting really helps. I've seen so many comments where people talk about how they just fasted for like 3 days or something and just water fasted, like no food, or they fasted, or they do intermittent fasting and all their pain was gone, no meds, nothing. They had like knee pain, chronic inflammation, even like throat pain. For me, my throat is very, very susceptible. Like literally, like I don't know if I'm a Taurus or whatever, or I don't know if it's because I'm a Taurus, but my throat always but when I start getting sick, my throat goes through it. I've had like strep throat multiple times, but like I just fast when I'm sick, and I do not have to take NyQuil, Advil, none of that. It just goes away on its own. Again, consult a medical professional. This is not medical advice. I'm just talking about what has worked best for me, okay? In fact, like if you think about our body, right? Because I'm talking about cellular intelligence, cellular renewal. When you get sick, you actually lose your appetite. You don't like feel like eating that much. And that's your body, that's your system recalibrating itself. It's telling yourself like, hey, I am, like your cells are communicating with you like, hey, I think we've been eating too much junk food. We need to, or whatever it may be. Sometimes it's not, sometimes, but if you have noticed, a lot of people that are like, healthy, they eat healthy, they don't really get sick. But it's like, it's just your body's way of recalibrating itself. Okay, so yeah, when you get like sick, sorry, my California accent, you may even like have a high fever, right? Like basically, the reason why your temperature goes up so much is because it literally kills off the bad cells, the senescent cells, the cells that can no longer be in your system. Okay, like burns off those cells. That's why, like, that's your body's way of saying like, hey, we don't, like, we have these like unwanted cells right now. We have this bad bacteria in our body, and I'm going to raise your temperature so much to the point where it is killing off all this bad bacteria. Okay, so that's how intelligent our body is. That's why, I talk a lot about the subconscious mind, right? Your subconscious mind does everything to keep you safe. Your body does everything to keep you safe. Okay, the best the medicine cabinet you have is your body, are the cells within your body, but it's a matter of activating it. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, autophagy is great. It means like self-eating, and that's a metaphor for collapsing unwanted circumstances. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the other things that I have written on here. Brain. Okay, so the brain is basically an interface between the soul, mind, and perceived external reality. Again, everything is just about like your perception. It's reality isn't even real. It's just a bunch of different first of all, it's a hologram, or it's whatever you think it is. But the thing is, like, we're shifting realities billions of times every second. Okay, like, we are constantly seeing a different reality. It's just that our human body, right, is programmed to only see one snapshot of the billions of realities, the infinite realities that are taking place right now, right? So actually, when you fast, when you eat healthier, you can even have this out of body experience, which it's important to stay grounded and rooted during that. So you can definitely affirm that. But when you fast, you're able to transcend the limitations of your body. Okay, you're able to transcend the limitations of your body. That is so powerful, because for those of you, like I said, in the beginning of the video, you are going through some kind of stronghold or resistance when it comes to your manifestations. You're just I just can't manifest this no matter how long I've been at this. I keep seeing the same pattern in my reality, right? When you fast, you're able to actually transcend the limits of your mind, so that you are projecting out a new reality, because your neurons, your brain cells, your brain neurons are actually rearranging themselves to project a different reality. Okay, that is so magical. That is amazing. You can literally change what you are seeing. Okay, you can change your perceived reality by charging your brain, by activating your brain, by eating healthier, by affirming, by manifesting, by meditating, breath work, right? These are all modalities for emotional regulation, nervous system regulation, right? And I probably should have said this in the beginning of the video, but this is a way to emotionally regulate yourself. I know a lot of you are into breath work, meditation, robotic affirming, and all of those tremendously help, but fasting also really recalibrates your system, and it does regulate your nervous system on a very, very deep level. Okay, you're literally programming your cells, every single cell of your body, to project the reality that you want. So again, if you feel like you have just tried everything, this might definitely help. Okay, and of course, keep doing what you're doing. Keep you can pair this with breath work, EFT tapping, meditation, visualization, whatever it is that you do, but this helps tremendously. I feel I'm getting the words cellular regeneration and deep cellular healing. Okay, so just be careful of the foods that you eat. Okay, as much as I love sugar and a cereal, right? I used to be obsessed with Lucky Charms, and I'll still have it once in a while, but oh my gosh, the things that you see out in the stores, in even just restaurants, cafes, they're really not all that healthy. And it's okay to have it once in a while, but just limit your sugar intake, because again, cancer cells feed on sugar, okay? And parasites also feed on sugar. So it's if you feel like you've just been attracting a weird reality where you're meeting all these darker energies, maybe it's for a lot of you, I know you're trying to manifest love, but you keep meeting these player type people, non-committal people. Honestly, it could be the parasites within you that are making you attracted to that thing, right? And this is a metaphor, so think about it. When you're hungry, when you crave bad foods like sugar and things like that, right? Processed foods, it's the parasites within your body that are craving that, which is why it's so important to do a parasite cleanse every once in a while. Actually, I travel a lot. I live in the United States, and the topic of parasite and gut health has been getting a lot more popular, but I do go to a lot of tropical countries, and deworming and parasite cleanses are so common there. Like, I mean, they literally do it like multiple times a year. Also, like those tropical countries, you know, they do have like, you know, like worms and stuff in their food, right? Like, I mean, that happens here too in the United States, but it's like, it's a pretty popular thing that, you know, people from other countries do, like gut health cleanses, and, you know, just their quality of life, like their happiness levels, things like that. It's pretty high. It's pretty high. You know, I'm talking about like Central American countries. You know, I've been to like Mexico, like Nicaragua, pretty much every country except like Honduras. I still need to go to Honduras. I went to like Salvador, and basically every time, like, you know, I go to different countries, like my diet changes. I've been to India, you know, things like that, and I just come back feeling so fresh and rejuvenated. And I do think that is possible in the United States, okay? But it's important to buy like organic whole foods, okay? And just be wary of your intake. Again, this is not medical professional advice, okay? And I know it can be tempting, but a lot of the things that you see in the store are not good for you. And like, since I started like fasting, my cravings, my appetite has completely changed. I also find myself like just making healthier, better decisions. Like, you know, I'm attracted to better, more wholesome things, okay? And that has drastically changed my mental health, okay? Like, I pretty much have like very, very little like stress, anxiety, things like that. It's mitigated. Like, basically eating healthier has mitigated stress, anxiety. I don't have depression. Like, there are times when I did, like, you know, I was in and out of it. So sometimes it could just boil down to your gut health, okay? So for those of you, maybe you have everything in your life, maybe you're happy, maybe you have all your manifestations, but you still feel depressed, just try switching up your foods. Try eating healthier whole foods, plant-based diet, maybe ketogenic diet, and it will really, really shift a lot within you, okay? And again, this is just what has worked best for me. Take this advice with a grain of salt. Speaking of salt is also good for parasite you know, cleansing, gut cleansing, getting rid of parasites, okay? So the one thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to like parasites is, or okay, let's talk about gut health or gut cleansing, right? So when you cleanse your gut, right, and there are a lot of different things you can take and consume to cleanse your gut, such as turmeric. It's very anti-inflammatory. You can also take it with black pepper, right? Or yeah, like I believe even cayenne pepper, because that activates the curcumin in turmeric. And then you can take ginger, right? You can mix it together. You can mix all those together, and that will get rid of parasites within you. However, here is the thing. With parasites, some of them may contain toxins and eggs, right? Like, parasites are whole organisms of their own. They may have eggs, right? So when you get rid of parasites, you have to make sure to take a binder. Wormwood is really good. Clove is really good. Clove has like high antioxidant properties, right? Even charcoal is good. I heard diatomaceous earth, the edible version, is also really good, right? That will get rid of the toxins that these parasites release. So those worms won't be stuck in you, because sometimes when people go through a parasite cleanse, they feel really bad after because those parasites are still stuck. But like, once you take those binders, you'll feel so good. You'll feel like a whole new person, okay? Cellular regeneration. Like, literally, your cells will rearrange themselves and you will be a whole new person. Your skin will clear up, okay? Mental fog or whatever, brain fog, anxiety, all these things going on in your brain that were due to inflammation, that were due to, like, you know, the things going on in your gut will clear up, right? Because there is a gut-brain connection, and what's going on in your gut does have a connection to, like, you know, your brain. So it's like, you know, like, you could be affirming all the time, you could be highly intelligent, this, that, but maybe if you feel like you're just missing that one thing, or you want to break through strongholds, resistance, try just, you know, working on your gut health. Try eating healthier, okay? Try fasting. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, right? Because yeah, maybe you've heard the fact that the gut is the second brain, right? So it's so important to take care of what we feed ourselves, what we eat, right? I know a lot of you, like, you know, you may be into conspiracy theories, like, oh, everything's here to just, like, kill us, and big pharma, this, that, right? Like, honestly, think whatever you want, but you have the power to change things, okay? Try to, like, see things as, like, okay, you know what, like, yeah, maybe that was the case, but I have the power and knowledge to change my reality. Like, you know, I don't have to, like, you know, be sick all the time. I don't have to be sad. I don't have to, like, you know, experience this negative version of, you know, my reality, right? So, yeah, our gut health, our brain health, it definitely can impact what we, you know, attract in our lives, in our 3D reality. And when you eat healthier, at least for me, when I started eating healthier, literally when I say everything improved in my life. I stopped being attracted to toxic things. I also like became very aware of where I was like unconsciously spending my energy, time, money when I shouldn't have. Like I like actually like just came like I decided to check my like bank account, which I usually don't, because like I mean not to brag, but like I'm at that point where I don't have to like, you know, really check my bank account every time I spend things because I have enough money. But like I realized there were like certain subscriptions, certain services that I didn't even like, you know, need to be subscribed to, and I was like, you know, like wasting some money. And I was able to like, you know, thankfully I realized that. I'm like, okay, you know what, like I noticed like this is where I'm like spending money where I shouldn't. And just I became like highly aware of things that were just no longer serving me, and I was able to release them, like things that were like, you know, just where I was giving my energy to when I shouldn't have. Like, you know, I made like all these like decisions that like benefited me and that are still continuing to benefit me, and I know they will pay off in the long run. This will definitely pay off in the long run. Eating healthy, you guys, you may not see benefits right away, but like when you continue this, when you sustain this practice, okay, you will see results. I promise you. Like I've been fasting for like 3 months now, and my life has drastically changed. I'm a whole new person. I'm in a whole new timeline, whole new portal, whole new dimension, and my life is just freaking amazing. Okay, so yeah, anyways, yeah, I talked about gut health, gut cleanse, parasite cleanse. Okay, ginger, turmeric help a lot. You can also pair it with cloves. You can literally just chew on cloves. They're also, you know, really good for your teeth actually. I do go to the dentist just for like the checkup, but I have not had any cavities or anything like that, because I've been eating cloves, and they're natural breath freshener. Actually, a lot of like the mints and like, you know, even gum that you get in stores and things like that, like they have like microplastics, they have all these like, you know, negative things in them that are not good for your health. So that's why it's important. Like not all gum is bad. Like, you know, I think like I have seen like advertisements for like healthier gum, healthier mints, but cloves are just like a very natural like way of, you know, detoxing your body and also having good breath. And yeah, you can chew on cloves while fasting if you do feel hunger. They won't break your fast because they're very low in calories. I also really like cardamom. Cardamom's really good for like you know, immune system. It does have antioxidants, or yeah, I feel like there's a word that I'm thinking of. Yeah, like it does have antibacterial properties as well. Okay, so yeah, it also increases your magnetism. I feel like honestly, cloves are an aphrodisiac. Just like the spiritual properties of cloves are interesting to look into. Yeah, so if you're trying to manifest love, you know, there are certain herbs and spices that you can chew on, and clove has just increased the amount of like love in my life. Like things are going really well with my SP specific person. I feel really good, happy. They're also an antidepressant. Like, you know, if you feel kind of down, just chew on cardamom. Yeah, cloves as well, but like cardamom, it increases your magnetism. It's like the love spice. I see it as like the heart chakra spice. It's also green. I like chewing like green cardamom. There's also like the black one, but yeah, it's really good. It increases your magnetism, increases like just love, heart chakra activation, you know, things like that. It also freshens your breath. Cardamom's also really good for freshening breath. I'm Indian, and we add cardamom to our tea, you know, to our chai, and it's amazing. It's good for your gut health. It's good for like so much in your body. Antibacterial properties, okay? Yeah, and it tastes good. I like the way it tastes. But anyways, yeah, it's called elaichi if you like, you know, if you know Hindi, elaichi, yeah. And I forgot what clove is called, but cardamom, I believe, is elaichi. And yeah, let me know if you know what clove is called in Hindi. But anyways, yeah, the next thing I wrote here is mitochondria as dimensional portals. Okay, so mitochondria, you know, you're not just creating energy, but you're transforming infinite consciousness into physical form. Okay, so mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. They generate ATP, which is basically energy. A lot of the energy that you do produce to, you know, like engage in daily activities, to talk, to think, to speak, to run, to walk, to jog, physical activities, right? When I say energy, I mean like literal energy, right? Like energy to, you know, even go to work, create content, energy for whatever, right? It's created in the mitochondria, right, through the ATP, right? But I wrote here that you're not just creating energy, but you're transforming infinite consciousness into physical form. So that's why, like, you can like charge the mitochondria within you. You can charge your cells. You can speak to your cells. Like, I have healthy cells. Every single cell of my body is thriving. Okay, I activate cellular regeneration, cellular healing. Okay, by doing this, you can literally calm your nervous system. Okay, nervous system regulation. This is one way of doing that, right? You can even say, I command every single cell of my body to show me the reality that I prefer, to project the reality that I prefer, right? The whole thing about like the matrix, hologram, reality, 3D, things like that, right? So you can literally speak to your cells, tell your cells, hey, we're only focusing on the reality we prefer. We're only focusing on the versions of people we prefer. We're only focusing on good things. Okay, I command my cells, I command my mitochondria, I command every single thing within me to project the reality that I prefer. Okay, I said that multiple times, so it really, like, infiltrates your subconscious mind. Okay, speaking to yourselves help. I actually saw this in the comments. I know that, comments are real because a lot of them are anonymous and they're not trying to sell you things, right? But basically, this woman was talking about how she spoke to her cells and they literally like healed themselves. Again, our body is so intelligent, okay? It's just a matter of us like activating that innate intelligence within us to, heal whatever it is that we're going through, right? Cellular healing also translates to like, healing through trauma, stored trauma, healing through negative circumstances. Maybe you keep replaying an event in your head again and again and again. That could be due to like inflammation in your brain, right? Like, inflammation in your gut even. It's something in you, your subconscious mind, your body, your cells telling you, hey, there's something we need to change so that we can stop replaying this event and see real things, see some real movement in your 3D reality, okay? This is really great. Fasting actually helps release stored trauma. Even EFT tapping, breathwork, meditation, these are all ways to release stored trauma. Maybe trauma from like your first heartbreak, or the things that SP said to you, your specific person said to you, or trauma from like getting laid off from a job, or poverty trauma, or things like that. You're not stuck to that for the rest of your life, okay? You can get rid of that trauma. There have been people who went from, having like negative like money in their bank account to being millionaires overnight because the algorithm decided to blow up their video, okay? So anything can happen, anything can shift. Just believe that it can shift for you, okay? But if you feel like, okay, I've been at this for a while, definitely try these methods, try whatever I'm talking about in the video. Speaking of fast, I really like the 18-6. So what does 18-6 mean? Fasting for 18 hours. Okay, you're only drinking water. You can also drink black coffee because that doesn't have any calories, and that actually that counts, and that actually helps suppress your appetite. Although some people who do pure fast, they don't drink coffee because I do believe there's some sort of connection between like coffee and the liver. But I am seeing that like when you fast for 18 hours, right, no food, and you can like chew on like low caloric foods like clove, cardamom, and you can still drink like ginger, turmeric water. I do that, but when you reduce your eating window to like 6 hours, right, like you can eat like in that 6 hours, like you will experience magic, you will experience miracles, okay? Because at that point your body goes into autophagy and ketosis, like at the 18-hour mark, right? I believe like 17 hours is when it goes into like one of the two, right? But 18 hours, like just extend it one more hour. It is magic, it is amazing. It is different for women. Maybe I'll make a whole video about that. Fasting is slightly different for women, but I have been doing 18-6 and it has changed my mind. I have less brain fog, I'm able to function a lot better, I'm a lot more productive at work. I stopped eating at 8 p.m. Okay, like for me it changes. Like I don't like it's not very strict every day. But what I do is I stop eating at 8 p.m. Okay, and I usually go to bed around like 11 or 12. Okay, and I don't eat until, let me do the math here. So 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. that's 12 hours, right? And I like to go sometimes 16 hours or 18 hours without food. So I definitely don't eat like before 12. And I know this might be controversial because breakfast, I know some people need to eat breakfast before 12, but there has been research done on this, and maybe I'll make a video, sorry about that, linking like, like science-based journals, you know, articles with references on why it's okay to not eat breakfast like before 12 p.m. Okay, but yeah, let's do the math. So 8 to 8, that's 12 hours. Add, you know, 4 more hours, that's 12. Okay, so if you don't eat from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m., like you will activate like autophagy, where your cells start cleaning themselves, and that's a really great time to manifest. Okay, you can manifest anytime, but like, you know, there are certain times where, like, you know, when you do manifest during that time, your cells are really, really receptive. Your brain neurons, your self in general is very, very receptive to those affirmations and the things that you are feeding yourself. Okay, no pun intended. It's like, yeah, maybe starve the actual food, but like, you know, feed the positive thoughts, right? Like, yeah, starve the doubts, starve the fears, and, you know, feed the positive thoughts, right? It's a metaphor for that. But anyways, yeah, so that's 16 hours, and you can break your fast at 12 p.m. I like going a couple more hours, so I would break my fast at 2 p.m. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'll even do OMAD, like just eat one meal a day and like don't eat again. But again, it's more about like the period that you basically like food restriction period. So it's like when you go a while without eating, right? Your body is not spending so much energy on digesting that food, so you retain more energy to focus on other things, to focus on work, to focus on the things that you need to do, to focus on your manifestations. Okay, so this helps clear your mind. This helps literally, you know, like, I'm getting like, you know, swords energy, right? Like, I like connecting everything to tarot, but like, you have a clear mind, like thinking, right? You reduce brain fog, you increase mental clarity, you function a lot better. Okay, a lot more efficiently. That's the thing. I feel like I didn't have to even try too hard, and my body would just lead me to things in a more efficient manner. Like, there were certain things that like I wanted to like buy or shop for. Like the other day, like I really wanted like the Scrub Daddy, like this like scrubbing sponge thing, and I didn't even think too hard. I'm just like, I'm gonna find it, and I found it in like the most random store ever. I found it at like Five Below 5, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, because I just saved a trip to like you know, the grocery store I usually go to, and basically my manifestations were just coming in fast. Even like the littlest thing. I actually got contact from someone I have not like talked to in a while. All these people from the past were hitting me up. My SP contacted me more. Okay, like they're like multiple specific people that I have for different things, right? Like I have like a business contact, I have my romantic contact, like all those things just started like, you know, happening at once, because again, I activated the cellular intelligence within me, which made me like shift my perception of reality, of people, of things. It activated this intelligence, which led me to solutions in a more efficient, optimized manner, right? The whole thing about autophagy and cellular regeneration is that your cells begin to function at an optimized, efficient rate. Okay. Mind my throat. That's crazy, because actually I was starting to get sick, but I just like actually didn't eat because I just didn't have, you know, an appetite. I just like didn't eat for 24 hours. All I consumed was liquids, and my like I didn't fully get sick. I do have like a cough that I'm beating out, but like usually I get like chills, fevers, things like that. I didn't. So it's amazing. Okay. And also, there were certain circumstances that I was seeing in my life that were like low-key triggering me, and ever since I started fasting, those just disappeared, or they didn't like affect me as much. My reaction to them wasn't as intense. Like, I believe this has something to do with like, you know, reducing inflammation within the body, and, you know, like the brain inflammation, they just didn't affect me as much. Like there's still like certain memories, certain like, you know, things that come up that I'm just like, oh, why did this happen? Like, you know, I feel so annoyed, but I'm just not reacting as much. And the whole thing about manifesting, excuse me, you know, people, specific things, is about your reaction to them, right? Like, you're not actually physically changing the external world, you're just changing your perceptions and reaction, right? The less you react to the 3D, the faster it shows up, right? And yeah, maybe that could be a limiting belief, but for me that has worked, right? So I had this like, you know, like for an SP that I was manifesting, I kept seeing them in this like low light, like, oh, you know, they're such players, they keep doing this, they keep like, you know, like not contacting me, they're not giving me like, you know, what I want, they keep following new people, right? But I just like, I threw a fast at it. Like literally I just like, you know, fasted 18/6 every day, 18 hours, no food, just liquids, just, you know, no calorie liquids. and oh my gosh, that person like started deleting so many people off their social media. They literally started like unfollowing a bunch of people, and I was like, that's good, because I don't want my like future boyfriend, whatever, to like like have that, right? And this was actually a while back, so like fasting, it's not completely new to me. I've just been more consistent in the last like 3 months, but like I believe that was also robotic affirming. Like I think it was like a mix of just everything making things happen, but it was crazy. I was like seeing miracles in my reality. There were very specific things that I wanted to happen that happened pretty much instantly. Okay, so yeah, it really clears up your brain, changes your mental perceptions of things. Okay, changes like the quote unquote reality that you perceive, right? Like basically dimensions are just realms of thought. They're not like literal physical locations, right? They're just like your state of mind, right? So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. But anyways, let's talk about the other things that I have written on. Sorry, I'm so bad at like transitions. Like I just keep like rambling, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta finish this video. I'm gonna go through this whole page. Okay, I feel like I have yapped way too much. Okay, but yeah, basically, yeah, you're not just creating energy. You're transforming infinite consciousness into physical form. Mitochondrial matrix, energetic, dimensional. Or dimension, where electrical impulses, intentions, and consciousness interact. Okay, and I don't know why I wrote dimensional. I meant to write dimension. I was really tired when I wrote this, but basically, yeah, mitochondrial matrix is the energetic dimension where electrical impulses, intentions, and consciousness intersect. Okay, and okay, something I just remembered is like apples actually generate electricity in our brain. So yeah, for some reason eating apples has also just like really improved my health. And I feel like maybe, yeah, this could be a placebo or something, but I feel like whenever I do eat apples, like something good happens that day, right? Like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Like for me, it's like circumstances. An apple a day keeps those like unwanted circumstances and parasites away, right? Of course, like wash it well and make sure it's like organic and like, like again, just eat whole foods. But our brains are electric. Actually, there are a lot of ways to generate electricity in our brain. Eating apples definitely helps. Even like meditation, mantra meditation, robotic affirming helps a lot. Breathwork helps a lot, okay? Because we humans, we are electric. We do have an electrical field. We do have these electrical impulses that or like these signals that we're emanating into the quantum field, right? We are electric. That's why actually, if you notice, like when you rub your like hands against like like a slide, or like your hair, right? Like if you've ever gone on like a slide, your hair can generate static electricity, right? Even with like certain like types of what do you call, like fabric, right? Like you generate electricity. We are electric, like without any sort of like like actual physical electricity, right? Like we were electric even before electricity was like invented, or like we were aware of electricity, right? So we are actually electric. So yeah, even when you affirm, robotic affirm, whatever, like you do generate this like signal that you're sending out to that reality, that desired reality. And that desired reality is like hearing your signals, that version of you that you're trying to manifest, that SP that you're trying to manifest, that job that you're trying to manifest, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. What you're observing is observing you back, okay? We are actually, we have antennas within us, right? Like, yeah, maybe not like the way that like, like bugs have, like we are receivers of electrical signals. We're also emanating electrical signals, okay? Yeah, we do have these antennas that allow us to like receive these signals, right? Crown chakra energy, but it's even though we may not like physically see that, like how we feel things, we have intuition, right? Like it's us receiving these spiritual downloads, which in a more scientific term, it could just be electrical impulses. It could just be like like your brain, right? Like wavelengths and like colors and things like that, right? Like I feel like that's a whole nother video, that's a whole nother topic, right? But there is a like spiritual version of things, and a logical, analytical, scientific version of things, right? Like both of them go hand in hand. A lot of like spiritual concepts, they do have like science, like a scientific version of that, right? So I do believe there is a way to explain intuition. Maybe like we haven't like fully uncovered it yet, right? Like science is still behind. There's still a lot of like like there's still so much that science has to explore, because we only know like 5% of the ocean, right? But yeah, there are certain things that like I'm sure there is a logical explanation, but again entropy might be beyond like our conscious logic, or like our perception of what logic even is, right? But yeah, that's Okay, yeah, there's something else I wanted to say, but like I feel like at this point I'm just yapping. Yeah, even like, yeah, the cosmos, right? Like we do know of some of the planets, but there's so much out there that we don't know. And right, like, you know, the whole thing I was saying about electrical impulses in our brain, right? So even when you touch certain things, right, like we're actually never interacting with the 3D world. We're just interacting with our own nervous systems. Like there are these electrical impulses that we receive. Like I'm not even talking about like just shock. Like everything is electricity, and some of them might generate a shock, right? But we're actually just interacting with our own nervous system whenever we touch things, right, or perceive things, right? Like even the things that we perceive, it's like the wavelength of colors. Different humans actually, like, you know, we can perceive colors in a different form. Like, you know how some people are like color blind, right? Like their brains just function differently, right? So that's why I know reality isn't real. I know, like, you know, the reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to really understand that circumstances don't matter. Reality is malleable, right? We're all perceiving things in a different way, and reality is just like, you know, what we see is just our interaction with our own nervous system. Our, you know, the retina in our eyes, right? Like this is so interesting. I feel like I want to make a whole video about this because honestly I need to research more about this before I, like, you know, I get into this, and I don't want to, like, you know, spread like inaccurate information, right? But yeah, electrical signals. Mitochondria in our brain generate electrical signals that build the illusion of reality. Mitochondria in our brain generate electrical signals that build the illusion of reality. That's exactly what I was talking about, okay? So if you can change how your mitochondria functions, you can change your brain's output, thus changing your reality, thus seeing the reality that you want, thus manifesting your SP, manifesting that job, manifesting that money that you want, okay? Manifesting whatever changes you're trying to see. Let me say that again. Change how your mitochondria functions, aka change how, like, you know, just like what you're feeding your brain. You can change your brain's output, which then projects out a whole new reality. Okay, and when you change your brain's output, you recode the hologram that you are living in, okay? Let me say this again. When you change your brain's output, you recode the hologram you're living in. So I use the word, you know, hologram and reality interchangeably, but I do want you to know that it is a hologram. Again, you know, it's like if you think of an actual hologram, right? Like all you have to do is like change the code, right? Like I'm a computer programmer. I studied computer science, right? So there are so many there are correlations between, like, you know, coding and computer science, and then also manifestation, right? So like I code things, right? So I'm like writing code for something, and if I don't like the output, all I have to do is go back and change that code, right? Like I have to like change so I like coding websites. I like, you know, like trying out different color schemes, right? Like each color scheme actually has a hex code, right? Like again, back to the hexagons, it all connects. It's so cool. But basically each like color that you see, it has like a code associated with it. But if you don't like it, all you have to do is change back and go back to your code and encode different information. That's the thing, okay? Everything that you're seeing is just like information encoded and embedded within your cells. So all you have to do is change the code in your cells. Like just like how you go back and, you know, change the code, the HTML code. I'm sure a lot of you have tried at least like HTML, CSS at some point in your life, right? You just have to go back in and change the code, and you will get a different output, okay? And you have to just keep changing it until you get the output that you want. And computer science, this is known as debugging, right? So even when you like change your thoughts, you're thinking you're debugging your system to project out a whole new reality, okay? And I also wrote some notes about fasting, ketosis, and the matrix, okay? So ketosis shifts your mitochondrial function. You know, you can I need to like make a whole new video about ketosis because that's a whole topic on its own. But yeah, your body enters. Okay, let me explain what ketosis is. So ketosis occurs when you shift your metabolic function. All right, so when you fast, when you get into autophagy, right, you've been fasting 16 hours, 17 hours, 18 hours, your body switches from using glucose, aka sugar, as energy or fuel, to burning fat for fuel, to burning fat for energy, okay? Again, your body shifts from using glucose for energy to burning fat for energy. And when that happens, that's ketosis. Your body switches like metabolic function. So what happens during ketosis? Ketones are released. Okay? So ketones are a healthier, cleaner, more efficient source of fuel for your brain. Okay, ketones are really good for your brain. They're really healthy. Okay, and also your brain loves fats. That's why you'll hear a lot of doctors and health practitioners, nutritionists talk about eating avocados. Avocados are very good for your brain. They are healthy fats. Your brain loves healthy fats. When I say fats, I mean healthy fats. Okay, so it's very important. When you break your fast, eat some healthy fats because your brain likes that, right? It burns fat. Or maybe it could be before fasting, you could eat healthy fats, so your brain will find that fat source within you and start burning that, right? And when I say glucose, I mean glucose is sugar, right? So there are healthy sugars, right? Just try to avoid processed sugars as much as possible. But yeah, ketosis is very magical. It shifts from it's when your body shifts from burning glucose for fuel to fat for fuel, and that releases ketones, which is a healthier, more efficient, cleaner source of fuel for your brain, right? And then so when you go into ketosis, you shift your mitochondrial function. You actually create more and healthier and better quality mitochondria, which that's the powerhouse of the cell that generates ATP, aka energy. And when you start manifesting during this time, okay, you start speaking affirmations, you start talking to your cells, you will literally manifest very, very fast. Okay, and the cool thing is that your body will be healthy. You will increase your longevity. Okay, all of this, everything that I'm talking about here is going to help you live longer. Okay, it's going to help reduce inflammation, brain inflammation. It's going to help your gut health. It's going to reduce illness, sickness. It's going to mitigate anxiety, stress, depression, all these things that have been affecting you. Okay, it's going to clear up brain fog. It's going to make you smarter, better, healthier. Again, like I said, it's going to help you live longer with as little meds and external things as possible. It's going to just help you increase your quality of life. Okay, that is one of the best gifts you can give to yourself. Your body is a gift to yourself, which is why it's so important to take care of your vessel. Okay, again, your body is magical. A lot of people even use their bodies to manifest, right? Some people will your hips actually store trauma, right? So when you move your hips or you engage in dances and things like that where you move your hips, you release stored trauma. Okay, even fasting actually helps you release stored trauma. So there are years and in your body, you have years and years of built up food, right? So when you fast, actually when you do a 3-day fast, I think 3-day fast is one of the most magical fasts. Okay, if you can 3-day water fast, no food, just water. Yeah, I guess coffee, only black coffee, no sugar, no creamers, no oat milk, no normal milk, just straight black coffee and water. Also, actually, when you drink water, I should have talked about this, make sure to put some pink salt because that will help you flush out the toxins, and that actually helps your body nourish itself with electrolytes. Okay, because when you fast, you actually do unfortunately get rid of electrolytes, and your body needs electrolytes. Okay, so if you do drink water, if you do water fasting, you can definitely add some pink salt, right? I like pink Himalayan salt, and that also flushes out toxins. That's good for getting rid of parasites and the negative disgusting bacteria, bad bacteria in your body, right? But basically when you fast, when you do a 3-day water fast, all the stored energy, all the energy patterns, all the little bad bacteria, the junk food, even limiting beliefs and trauma that you've been storing for years gets released. Okay, the 3rd day is very magical. When you've been fasting for, I believe 72 hours, after the 3rd day, right? Or even on the 3rd day, you are in a state of bliss and happiness, and it is the most magical thing ever. If you have done certain substances, right, shrooms and things like that, sometimes and I think plant medicine is great. I don't know too much about it, so I can't speak too much, but sometimes when you do have that high, that elated sense of that elated state, right? Maybe when you're out drinking whatever, partying and things like that, it doesn't really last, and the downfall is pretty bad, right? The crash can be pretty bad. Even sugar, it makes you feel good in the moment, but the sugar crashes can sometimes be negative. I feel there's a word for that, right? The crash, the downfall, or it's you feel really good, but then when you get off of it, it's just okay, now I need to do more to experience that, right? But when you fast, it's just you're constantly producing ketones, okay, and that's a really, really good source of fuel for your brain. And also something I want to talk, okay, yeah, talk about is like sometimes like people can get addicted to releasing ketones. Again, this is why you want to consult a medical professional before you do this, because and I should have mentioned this in the beginning of the video, maybe I'll put it in the description box, but if you have some sort of like eating disorder and things like that, like this video may not be for you. Again, consult a medical professional. I'm not trying to like, I know that's a very sensitive topic, okay, but again, I'm just sharing what works best for me. So take whatever I say with a grain of salt, pun intended, and related to everything, I'm talking about. This is not medical professional advice, but if you have suffered from eating disorders and things like that, honestly, like, yeah, you just talk to a doctor, okay? But I did hear Dr. Mindy Pels, I've been like watching a lot of her videos, talk about how like, there's some like girls who would suffer from eating disorders and actually their body did end up healing. Again, it's bad when it gets to a point of like, anorexia and bulimia and things like that, right? So obviously don't do it until that point, and listen to your body. If you feel like you need to eat food because you are tired and you feel like you're gonna like throw up or something like that, you're having headaches, you're feeling nauseated, nausea, dizzy, then please eat, okay? But break your fast with something healthy, like avocados are good. I believe like bone broth, vegetable broth, maybe something light like soup, things like that, like vegetables is good, okay? I just break it with like, vegetables, nuts, seeds, raisins, fruits, okay? Like sometimes actually with fruits, it's like you can get like a sugar spike, so just, it really depends, okay? But I think avocados are great. But yeah, that is something I wanted to put out there, okay? Eating disorders, things like that, like if you have that, just consult a doctor before you do this. But yeah, like ketones, right? Like a lot of people that fast, they really like, they like, at least for me, like when the ketones are being produced, when my body shifts from like, burning glucose to burning fat, like there's that metabolic switch, right? My body's functioning differently. Like I feel so good, I feel so happy. But I believe on the third day of fasting, it's like people have reported feeling blissful, like pure joy, pure bliss. They felt elated. That high lasted like a while, they were getting all these spiritual downloads. Your body, your mind, your crown chakra, whatever, all of those things become a vessel for creative insights, downloads, intelligence, like solutions to problems. Like I actually worked with this like very high-end CEO. I interned for her, and she basically told me that like, before a big presentation, she just won't eat for a bit. And like she was very high functioning, honestly. Like she's like probably a millionaire by now. And that's why a lot of even like monks and high executive professionals, like they've all tried that at some point. And even for me, I just feel like I function better, faster, more efficiently, at a more optimized rate. Like the solutions just come to me like faster than ever before. I find like like peace and happiness and joy and things. Like my perception of things just change. Even the things that trigger me no longer trigger me, or like those triggers are mitigated. Reduces inflammation. I get rid of like unwanted circumstances. This literally collapses timelines. This collapses unwanted timelines. Again, like sometimes you'll be attracted to things because of these like negative parasites in your body, right? And when you feel cravings to eat negative foods, it could be like the parasites, which like I know in like certain religions and things like that, right? Like they see parasites as like demons. And even if you zoom in on an actual parasite, right, you take like a microscope and you zoom in, and they do have this like really weird look to them, like those those like scary looking bugs, those insects, right? Like they kind of look like that. They have that sort of like scary demon type vibes, right? So parasite cleanses really help. Gut cleanses really help a lot. It may help you function better. Again, you can manifest no matter what. This is just this is just advice that has worked really well for me, and I just want to spread this because I'm really intending that this will help other people, okay? But so this basically, when you fast, you enter ketosis. This increases clarity and focus, your third eye chakra. This also enhances neuroplasticity, which rewires your reality. So this is a whole other video topic, okay? I feel like maybe I'll make a playlist where I talk about this kind of stuff, like, the intersection between like science and spirituality and our body and human biology and things like that, okay? I don't even know what to title this, because I'm a bit all over the place, but fasting and, just like enhancing the mitochondrial matrix, right? It changes your brain for the better. It really does. It enhances neuroplasticity. And, you know, for those of you that are into manifestation, you know, robotic affirming, I've even talked about this in my manifestation videos, robotic affirming, that does enhance neuroplasticity. Mantra meditation, when you keep saying the same thing again and again and again, that creates new neural pathways, that strengthens the pathways associated with the reality that you want to experience. It weakens the pathways associated with unwanted circumstances and things you don't want to experience, and it collapses timelines, right? It makes your brain healthier. Honestly, when you robotically affirm, that does actually like make you a lot smarter. When you really focus on something, that actually doubles the amount of neurons in your brain, the amount of brain neurons, which increases neuroplasticity, and that's really good. That makes you function at a better, like more optimized rate. It's overall very good for your body. When your brain is functioning well, you're not depressed, you're not stressed, you're not anxious, and you're just manifesting things at an accelerated rate. Okay, so fasting definitely enhances neuroplasticity, rewires reality, and it creates long-term changes to your brain, because, you know, like when you're not eating all these like bad foods and things like that, right, like that reduces inflammation in your brain, right? Like you're feeding your brain with like healthier things, right? Like your brain actually, like, you know, loves ketones, right? It loves fats. It's a healthier, right? Ketones are a healthier energy source for your brain. And yeah, you know, yeah, this is so magical. This is just amazing in every way possible. Okay, you will be so healthy, and you will be manifesting like a wizard. You will like literally just have to snap your fingers and you'll get what you want. You know, things that you feel like you've been stuck on manifesting for literal months will occur in your reality in like a day. Like you'll manifest those things in like a matter of days. Again, this helps break through strongholds and resistance. And because, you know, when you fast, especially when you do like a 3-day fast, you are releasing all those negative toxins that you've stored over the years. And that's also a metaphor for limiting beliefs, trauma, maybe bullying that you went through, again, like, you know, like heartbreaks, you know, things that you've gone through. And you are literally becoming a whole new person. You are programming your cells, you're programming your brain to become a whole new person. And in that way you will be experiencing a whole new reality. Okay, yeah, so like I see store trauma as just distortion in matrix. Like, nope, this is not the reality I want. I'm switching to the reality I do want. Okay, you are the matrix. Like I used to think like, okay, I gotta beat the matrix. I realized the matrix is within us. It's what we think. If you think that, like, you know, the government is out to get you, if you think that like everyone's out to get you, this, that, honestly, you're entering a fear-mongering mindset, and you're going to be experiencing that. Okay, it's okay to be aware of the things that are happening in your reality, right? Like even the whole thing I was talking about, like sugar, right? Like a lot of stores have like, you know, sugar and things like that. And maybe like there is this thing about like, oh, big pharma, you know, they want to keep you like, you know, in a low state so you can keep like buying their medicine, things like that, capitalism, this, that, right? So I mean, you can become aware of these things, but also ask yourself, what do I want to feed my brain? Do I really want to live in fear, or do I want to live a beautiful, healthy, amazing, empowering life where I am conscious of what's going on, but also I'm not in a scarcity mindset? I'm shifting from victim scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, right? Like you really have to, like, you know, program your brain. You have to tell yourself, you know, like what works for you and what doesn't. Okay, because there's some people who read about all these like fear-mongering negative things and they keep experiencing that, and it's like, if you're going to keep reading that, like, yeah, it is likely you will experience that. So you can switch that up. You can switch that up by just saying like, okay, even though this thing may be happening, not in my reality. In my reality, everyone is good, everyone is nice, everyone is positive, right? And you will start seeing that. Who knows, like, you know, the government, like whatever you think, like, you know, is like bringing you down might switch up like drastically, you know. Maybe you think, oh, the algorithm's out to get me, like I always see these triggering posts. Okay, well then switch it up. Like, you know, you can literally just click not interested and then you won't see that in your algorithm. That's the same thing with life's algorithm. Okay, I don't like this thing in my reality. I'm going to switch it up by thinking positive thoughts, okay? And also when you fast, you gain access to higher dimensions of thought, okay? Higher perspective. I always talk about this in my videos. If there's something that is bogging you down, you're feeling triggered by a circumstance, all you have to do is see things from a higher perspective, okay? If you want to switch realities, you have to get out of that 3D thinking, okay? Because the truth is, yes, we're 3D people in the 3D, and it's okay to want things in the 3D, but it's okay to, like, you know, activate from, you know, like activate like a higher realm of thought, activate a higher dimension by having a newer, better, higher perspective on things, right? So that's why fasting even helps a lot. You know, increasing mitochondria, things like that, they help a lot because they help you break through your limitations, the limitations of the body, right? So in my Patreon, actually, you know, you can join that. Like I if you like this video, I just like, I give a lot of very useful information on my Patreon about like the science behind things, neuroplasticity, and just daily motivational posts on like, you know, getting your specific person manifestation, and just like it helps with manifestation in general. But yeah, you can definitely join the Patreon. Link to that will be in the description box below. But I did recently post this post about how you and monks, right? Like there are monks who can walk through walls, who can like appear in multiple places at the same time, who can slow down time, who can speed up time, who can change things, who can you know, they're yogis in the Himalayas that have literally like, you know, made like castles, rivers, water sources appear out of nowhere. Okay, well, how do you think these things happen in our reality? Okay, this might be a little bit more esoteric and metaphysical for some of you, but like, you know, like there have been times where like maybe like certain civilizations, you know, they didn't have enough like, you know, water to grow their crops, or like their vegetation was low, and then like things just started appearing, like a river just appeared, right? Like in like Hinduism and like certain religions, certain like, you know, philosophies, like mysticism, mystical texts, right? Like they talk about like, oh, this god just made this thing appear, right? It could be like those yogis and babas and monks who make these things appear, right? So basically monks are magical, but here's the thing, you are made from the same material that monks are. They're not any different than you. In fact, we're all made of the same substance, just expressed in a different form. So if there are all these magical beings doing all these things, walking through walls, things like that, what makes you think you can't manifest that text from your specific person? What makes you think you can't manifest that job, or that luxury apartment, or that house, or that car, or that you know, social circle, or that, or all of it, right? You can. There are people out there like healing their entire body, healing through cancer, healing like chronic illnesses, you know, things like that, healing through ancestral trauma. You can manifest that tag, you can manifest that relationship. Okay, that's also something else I wanted to quickly talk about before I wrap up this video. Fasting will help you activate the intelligence that your ancestors left behind. Like, you know how there's all this talk in the spiritual community about ancestral trauma and epigenetics, and trauma actually stays in the DNA for 7 generations, right? Like there are people who are scared of doing certain things because, you know, their ancestors suffered through some sort of trauma related to that. Like in this one show that I watched on Netflix, Another Self, it's a Turkish TV show. One of the girls in the show, like she's scared of like water because her grandma or great grandma or someone, I think her name was Eleni, she had a hard time crossing over to like the Greek border from like Turkey or something like that, or vice versa. Like basically she was like immigrating through waters, and something traumatic happened to her, and that, you know, got passed down in you know, like the DNA. And like the girl in the show, like she was scared of water, but she overcame that. So that's the thing, like whatever you feel like, whatever pattern you're stuck, you know, like going through, that maybe your ancestors had, or maybe they had this history of not like having the best relationships or something like that, or being in constant survival mode, or like, you know, like with like women sometimes, right? Like they didn't have as many rights, whatever, right? Like things are ever changing. Okay, reality is malleable, things can change. Whatever trauma that maybe your ancestors left behind, whatever, like just know they also left behind intelligence. Okay, that's why like actually fasting, Dr. Mindy Pelz talks about this, but basically, like, you know, our ancestors went months, or like, no, actually no, days, okay, maybe not months, but like days without having food. You know, they would go out to hunt, they would be gone for like, you know, 3-4 days without any food, and they didn't even have refrigeration then, right? So their bodies adapted to fasting. That's why fasting is actually tapping into ancestral healing, right? So if you're someone who has been reading a lot about ancestral trauma, breaking generational trauma, breaking through these patterns, fasting can really help overcome that trauma, overcome the negative epigenetics, you know, things in your like genes, things like that. Again, know that like they left behind this innate intelligence that you can also tap into. Like that is the answer to maybe overcoming ancestral trauma. Maybe you feel like, oh, like my ancestors, like, you know, they grew up poor, right? Like, I mean, I'll give you an example. My parents, you know, their grandparents, they all grew up in like, not necessarily poor, but like kind of lower middle class, okay? And then my dad, like, he ended up, like, you know, immigrating to the country that I'm in right now, right? And he broke that generational, like, curse. He broke that cycle of, like, not necessarily poverty, but just not having enough money. And he, like, you know, like, yeah, he helps out his family and things like that. I mean, honestly, like, where my parents lived in India, like, no offense, but it was not up to, like, I mean, it's great because, like, you know, like, my grandparents are still alive, well into their 80s, 90s, and they do have a very high quality of life, but it's like, yeah, the money wise, like, they were just pretty average. Like, I think my dad, like, the place that he grew up in, I think they literally had, like the toilet was outside, okay? And, like, now it's like, you know, he was able to manifest this beautiful 3-bedroom for our family where there's, like, multiple bathrooms, and he broke through some generational curse, you know, whatever you want to call it, ancestral trauma. And I just know it's possible. The reason I'm giving you this example is that it's possible, okay? It's possible for you to transcend the limitations of your mind, of your body, of your ancestors, of anything that you feel like is holding you down, okay? If you think you can't get that manifestation, you're wrong. You can, okay? It's not the hardest thing. I know maybe you think, like, okay, I've been at this for a while, what is going on? That's why I like making these videos, to encourage you, to inspire you, to motivate you, okay? You can get your manifestation. Fasting really helps, okay? Because it activates autophagy, ketosis, cellular intelligence, healing, renewal, okay? And yeah, you know, this was just, like, kind of like a freebie, like, random video, but it's so interesting. If you've been watching my readings, like, recently, I have been kind of, like, sprinkling this type of information, but, like, not going, like, super in depth. But I have talked about cellular regeneration, DNA activation, right? This is about activating, like, that innate intelligence in your cells, right, that your ancestors left behind. And it's amazing. It's amazing, like, what we can do for ourselves. All the answers lie within. That's also another, like, insight and download that I got. Like, when people say all the answers lie within, it literally does. Like, our bodies have everything that we need, okay, to, like, not just survive but thrive, to shift from, like, scarcity mindset to passive mode to being a conscious creator in our reality, okay? Like, the best medicine cabinet is within us. The best manifestation technique is you. Like, you are the magic, you are the manifestation, okay? You have everything that you need to embody your dream reality, to become the version of yourself that has it all, okay? I do want to let you know that I offer in-depth tarot readings as well as manifestation coaching and also custom mixed subliminals. So if you're interested in any of these services, check out the description box below where you will find my website. You can sign up for those services through my website. I also do have a guide out on my Etsy that you can use to manifest love, specific, you know, person love, soulmate love, all of the above, okay? So do check that out. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much. Love and light.